Hello, I'm Karen Atkinson. I'm the Senior Partner of Mindfulness UK and one of the directors of Mindfulness UK at work. And I've recently had a book published which is entitled Compassionate Mindful Inquiry in Therapeutic Practice, and the publisher is Singing Dragon. I decided to write a book which is appropriate for anybody who's a practitioner and would like to guide some self reflection, self inquiry, or for trainee teachers or anybody working in any sector teaching mindfulness to others. And I wanted to help people explore the relationship between mindfulness and compassion and see how powerful the tools of mindfulness and compassion can be for other people. And as well as that, I started teacher training others to teach people to deliver these skills and practices. And as part of that training, I invited them to investigate inquiry. And I had fed back to me many, many times that there was very little literature out there from the secular world around inquiry. And so I decided to write my own book and developed the iceberg model of inquiry, which has 3 stages and 6 processes and shows how these processes relate to each other, and they're sequential and developmental, helping people to go more deeply into their experiences. So I just wanted to say a little bit more about the content of the book. I've actually dedicated the book to the Beacon Centre, and I've said to the Beacon Centre for giving me the opportunity to change my life. The foreword has been written by Vidyamala Birch, who set up Breathworks, and I'm very grateful to her for her wonderful contribution. Thank you. And in the first chapter, we're exploring compassionate mindful inquiries. So, setting the context of what mindfulness is and what compassion is, and starting to develop a really good sense of the relationship between the two. The second chapter is the iceberg model of compassionate mindful inquiry that I have developed, and I explore each section, each process in quite some detail and look at the rationale for doing that, and also some specific inquiry questions that can arise from each process to help someone who's guiding inquiry to stay on track and to have a framework from which to work. The third chapter has been written by a friend of mine, Dr. Trudy Edgington, who's a neuroscientist, and it's entitled Exploring the Neuroscience of Mindfulness and Compassion. So, again, she's taken each process and looked at the neuroscience behind it, looked at the brain changes and the changing neurotransmitters in relation to the start of the practices, and then the more one practices, how the brain changes, and the cognitive changes that occur as well. So it's a wonderful way of really investigating how mindfulness and compassion can change our brain and help to support our health and our well-being as a result. The fourth chapter is how to model a compassionate mindful teacher. So, what does a mindful teacher look like? What does one have to do or be like? How does one behave and present? So much of the learning is through nonverbal cues, and so it's really, really helpful to be able to explore that. So that's chapter 4, and the last chapter is leading skillful, compassionate, mindful inquiry with clients. So, all the considerations necessary to lead inquiry. And so that's around the assessment, ensuring that it's safe to do so, to guide practices, and then the considerations for inquiry. And all sorts of other things around language and posture and relational qualities that one needs to consider. And then there is an appendix, and in the appendix are some assessment forms to help to give you some understanding. There are two actually of what to ask if you're working within a workplace setting, and also another one if you're working in more of a clinical setting, and some indication as to all the other assessment forms that you might be able to use within whatever sector you're working in. And there are some questions that are frequently asked in response to these different processes that I explore in the model. So, questions around specific practices and thoughts and experiences in response to practice from real clients that I've worked with over time. So, the book is available on Amazon and both in the UK and in America. So please do get a copy if you're interested, and I'd love to hear what you think of it. So you can email me at info@mindfulnessuk.com. Thank you.